Are we ready?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right. Hey, everyone. Welcome to Armed with Knowledge, where we are currently discussing the importance of training, not specifically with firearms, but just self-defense in general.
Yeah, currently, and this is a conversation that we're going to carry on quite a bit, especially with looking at 2020. This year, we're a little over halfway through this year, and we've seen there are millions more new gun owners than any year prior to this year, and it's something that definitely needs to be discussed.
Firearm ownership is no joke, man.
No, it's a lot of responsibility.
And that's what people don't like. So instead of just having a gun sitting in your house, and that's not the right answer. And I think something that's very important that I think anybody who follows us long enough is going to hear us say it many times. We'd like to make sure that we present the importance and the ease of getting the training and training yourself the way necessary for new gun owners.
Yeah, it's not like getting a dog, right? So you go to the pound, you get a dog, pit bull, whatever, and it's not like just bringing the dog home and saying, okay, I have this dog for protection now. If anyone breaks in, the dog's going to take care of it. Right. No, it's not like that. You have to go to the range. You have to put in the reps. You have to get your mind into that space where, you are prepared to defend yourself against somebody else if someone breaks in.
And there's a lot of reasons for that. It's not just the need to know how to do it, because you're not going to know what you're doing when it's time to use it, when you have to use it, and you've never even touched the damn thing. It goes deeper than that. It goes to, even if you have done it a couple times, when you have to do it for the first time, you're not doing it.
Right.
Until your subconscious understands how that thing works, why it does what it does, your adrenaline kicks in and your conscious mind's responsible for that. It's not going to work. Your subconscious mind has to be the one to take over for you.
Mm-hmm.
Also, just doing one class, like a CCW class, for example, shooting is a perishable sport. You can lose your not talent. You can lose your training if you let off of your training for too long.
Absolutely.
You can forget.
Yeah. You can get a muscle memory to where we're like, yeah, once you get back into it, it comes back a lot faster. You can get back to where you were.
Exactly.
It is like riding a bicycle. Everybody says it's like riding a bike. You can just get it back. Listen, if you've never been on it, if you haven't been on a bicycle, trust me, we're talking from experience. For 20 years, you first get on that thing, it's freaking awkward.
Mm-hmm.
But I got pretty good at it again pretty quickly because I was there. But it definitely is something to where, like, if I had to jump on a bicycle that moment, after that much time of not being on it, to save my life, I'd have been screwed.
Yeah.
Same thing. And talking about CCW, and this is something that we're gonna be talking about again later.
CCW is never the extent of your training. A lot of people stop their training.
That's not even. It shouldn't even be the beginning.
It should. Yeah,
absolutely.
No, 100%.
There should be training involved
just
before
an entryway.
When we have friends that train, that do the CCW training courses, that complain to us all the time that people show up with a brand new gun that they've never fired before, and that they've only ever seen a gunshot on TV. When they show up to a CCW class expecting to qualify, and
don't know how to do range etiquette.
Yeah.
Come back when you do training.
Absolutely. Pro tip for anyone listening: if you go out and you purchase a new handgun, be it your first handgun, your 10th handgun, doesn't matter. Make sure it's unloaded and play with it. Play with it in the house. Feel it. Get to know the weight. Rack the slide. Get to know it. You can't just buy it, put it next to the bed, and be like, okay, that's there for protection.
Unfortunately, right. That's a lot. That's what a lot of people are doing.
That's the mentality, unfortunately.
And it's not. And it's not like we're sitting here and pointing fingers and calling people stupid. It's this is why we're here doing what we're doing. This is something that with what we talk about. We believe in a future where all self-defenders are armed with the knowledge they need to keep themselves and those that they care about safe. Mm-hmm. And with that means how to use the tools that you have. It's not a hammer. You don't just swing the head at a nail and it works. There's a lot more to it because you got that in order to keep yourself alive. And in doing so, just like you said, throwing it next to the bed is not going to do the job for you.
Not at all.
Basically, you're containing a controlled explosion inside of your hands. And if somebody doesn't believe that they need training to contain that in their hands, something else to think about.
Absolutely. And that's what we explain to people all the time. As soon as you take ownership of a firearm, you've also taken on a huge responsibility. We are all about, and this is something that we say constantly and probably be in a lot of our content, we're all about people exercising their Second Amendment rights. There's just a responsibility that comes with that. Just because it's your right to do it, you don't have a right to be putting other people in danger by exercising your rights ignorantly.
Absolutely.
Yeah, 100%. So we've actually discussed this in length. A lot of people are reacting. They're not responding correctly.
Great way to put it.
And
it's an amazing way.
Yeah, the only way you can properly respond to something is if you study it, you actually have an intelligent response to it. Now, I mean, there's a lot of situations where, yes, you are going to react based on reflex, muscle memory, whatever, but if you go through the proper training, if you build the proper skills, now it's more of a calculated response and not a knee-jerk reaction.
Also, a lot of it is letting go of your ego when you pick up that firearm.
100%.
Coming from
Huge.
doing pre-CCW training with people in person, most times when I train males, I don't want to be rude, but I want to say they're trying to impress me. So
we're cocky as hell.
They get a shaky, quick, I need to do this right now. I need to look like I know what I'm doing. Whereas,
especially when they're in the class with their girlfriend, or
let
somebody, they're
go
supposed
of
to be
your
the one.
ego.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what people think of you. It matters if you're retaining the information in front of you. Because in the moment, are you going to want your ego to take over, or are you going to want your training to take over?
Yeah, no, 100%.
You have to let go of that ego, man.
Yeah,
What are you talking about with reaction versus responding? So, and this is something that's in our notebooks. What we talk about: react, not respond, or respond, not react.
Right.
Sorry, I said
And
that
not
backwards.
just in firearms. That's a
respond-
blanket thing
it's
for my life.
Life, absolutely.
Yep.
We live this in our notebook, like lifestyle. What we live in our lifestyle. We talked about this many times. Is you respond, not react. What? I'm not trying to get scientifical.
Scientific.
Well, you already fucked it up.
I'm not
Yes,
scientific.
copyrighted 2020.
So
Scientifical.
without Jesus Christ. So, not trying to sound whatever. I don't know. It's too
Smart.
too far off of what we're talking about. I guess I don't want to sound like I'm going off somewhere else with this. But reactions, a person's natural reaction is what their subconscious mind is doing for them. Mm-hmm. When you take the time to respond to something, you're consciously thinking about what it is that you're doing. So in a reaction, you're not necessarily using your conscious mind to think about it. And so, like what I was saying before, if your subconscious doesn't know how to do something, your conscious mind is now responsible for that. And in the heat of the moment, when you need it the most, if that subconscious doesn't know what to do, when your conscious is like, oh fuck, then it's over.
Yeah.
You're not doing what you're supposed to be doing. This is why when we send kids down range, on deployments, I should say, with machine guns, they've cleared rooms with these guns and they've been through all these scenarios 1,000 times, because that first time that the target's actually shooting back, their conscious mind shuts off.
Absolutely.
And if that subconscious mind doesn't have the experience of doing that so many times before that, to be able to take over while the conscious mind is freaking out, and the subconscious mind takes over with the repetitive that it knows. It's the same as driving a car. You remember the very first time you drove a car, you like, turn the radio down, don't talk to me.
Oh my
God.
gosh.
So holding, what is it?
10 and 2.
10 and 2. Holding 10 and 2.
Laser focus on the
now,
road.
And now you're having a conversation, listening to the radio.
Driving with your left knee.
Yeah.
Fuck your hands.
And that's because your subconscious mind. How many times have you driven down the road and then realized, like, oh shit, I'm home? I don't remember.
Right.
Like, your subconscious did it for you because your subconscious knows what to do.
You're
It's done
so
it so many
trained
times.
to do that it's nothing anymore.
And it's the same thing. And this is the point that I'm trying to bring home, where hopefully enough people can hear it as many times as we talk about this, is if your subconscious mind doesn't know how to defend you with that tool, your conscious mind is not going to be the one to do it. You can't rely on your conscious mind.
And that's when people freeze, because the conscious mind is like,
or fumble.
I don't know what to do.
Yeah.
And it literally stops working.
What happens when that gun, when that handgun, say it's a handgun, what happens when it stovepipes or it has any kind of malfunction? Your conscious mind is so freaked out.
It's going to tell you to try and fire again.
You can't,
Right.
you're not going to be able to look at that and be able to make the correction that you would have if your subconscious mind already knew how to do that.
Right. Do you know how to clear that in time before your aggressor
till
gets past?
Yeah. Does your subconscious mind know how to just go through that motion
Yeah.
of seeing what it is, recognizing it, moving on?
A lot of people think my firearm's always going to go bang. It's always going to go bang. But what if it doesn't?
Yeah,
How are you going to assess that situation? Is it your ammo? Is it the firearm malfunctioning? Is it something catching up? If you don't practice that, you don't know what to do.
Yep.
That comes with experience, absolutely.
Yeah, and even on that point too, I mean, you can have a Gucci handgun. You can buy the most
What do
expensive.
you mean by Gucci handgun? Like,
HK?
not like a decked out one, but you mean
yeah,
like
I
an
thought you were talking
expensive
about-
I mean, an
brand.
expensive handgun, right?
Okay.
So you can buy an expensive handgun.
Gucci,
and
man. You talk about Gucci. You're talking about putting all the bells and whistles.
Right,
on
I was
it.
thinking like RMR and fucking cut slide and
doesn't
gold
matter.
this.
Doesn't matter, right?
and-
So you can go buy a Glock and you can Honda Civic it out, whatever
Ah,
you want
that's
to do,
funny.
right?
AutoZone
And
it
you,
out.
yeah, pretty much. And you can go out and you can buy the nicest ammo, your
Right.
Hornady plus P, whatever. You need to make sure that gun even runs that ammo.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, and again, it goes back to training. You have to run the drills. You have to put in the reps. You have to put in the time. You can't just buy this. Cool, I got it. Go to the range one time.
Right, I got all the top of the line stuff.
yeah.
It has to work.
that brings
It
up a
has
good
to be
point,
the
too.
thing for me.
That brings up a good point too. You're talking about what ammo you're using, right? So typically, I said it. Typically, we run just range ammo that's
Right.
totally different from our everyday carry ammo, right? And if you don't realize it, I'm going to tell you right now, like good carry ammo hits harder.
Yep.
It snaps more
Absolutely.
than just FMJ range ammo.
Yep.
Absolutely.
So when you get used to just running range ammo all the time, and the first time you actually have to send that hollow point or whatever it is that you're sending down range, it's going to snap harder, and it's going to take you by
gonna
surprise.
surprise you, yeah.
You're not going to have the same methods or the same patterns and rhythm that you would have with that range ammo. So it not all the time is too expensive, but you got to know what that ammo that you're carrying feels like in that gun.
Yeah,
and
100%.
like what you were saying, just because that range ammo goes through that all day long, what happens when you put something other kind of ammo that you're carrying every day
Yeah.
and it doesn't run the same?
How do you know it's even going to fire?
Absolutely. And guess what? Your sight alignment's going to change.
Yep.
Your sight reset's going to change.
Yeah, your
People
reset.
don't
You're-
take that into account.
Yeah.
Well,
They
it's
don't
because they don't know.
realize.
Well, they don't know.
But that's why
and,
we're
and
here.
that's the whole point of this. Absolutely,
That's why we're here.
is to make sure that people, get that knowledge. And again, one of the core values that we have is building on common knowledge by making knowledge common.
Absolutely, 100%.
And unfortunately, when it comes to the firearms industry and a lot of self-defense industries in general, people are either ignorant to it, they're scared of it, they think that, oh no, like you have to live a certain lifestyle to get into this, you need to know X, Y, or Z to even know what they're talking. No, you just need to listen.
That's right.
And like what you said, take the ego out of it
Yes.
and really soak in the knowledge.
And as an adult, people are so much more afraid to take that leap and learn something new because they're afraid to fail. When you're a child, it's not like we are born with the human instinct to shit in a toilet or to eat food. We learn those things, and we're not afraid of failure as a child. As we're growing, you fail to learn those things. Like, you fail in order to learn those things, is
Right.
what I should say. People as adults are afraid to take that leap and bound because they don't want to look stupid trying. They don't want to fail while trying. And there's plenty of things that I can admit myself that I have done exactly what I just said. But that's what this is all about.
One of the things that I think is going to help with getting information out there is the fact that we're not trying to come out swinging with shoving information in people's face. There's no shortage of videos and people putting information out there, the same information that we're putting out there, knife handing in the camera or saying, this is what this is. I mean, we like to make fun of ourselves and goof off and be funny. At the same time, we're going to be bringing up things that are going to be hard for some people to hear. There's going to be some facts that people don't like. There's going to be some things. And as we talk about these things, we're going to try to stay as open-minded as possible, which is why we would hope that our audience would stay as open-minded as possible. It's one of the things that we talk about as well as we're going to be expressing opinions with open minds. So we're willing to discuss these things with an open mind, but we're also going to be expressing creative thinking for open minds. So, we're here for an audience that has an open mind and wants to hear another idea about how things are done or another idea about how to look at things.
Not even just another idea, but an explanation of why people have these ideas.
The thing is there's a perception. Everything's based on perception, and which is why it's so hard for somebody that lives in such a strict paradigm about guns to change that, because that perception is so strong in that direction that it's hard for people to imagine carrying a gun every day. But we've seen it. We've helped people that were terrified of guns that could never, and they've said this, and this is where I'm getting this from, is from experience. People that have said, I never would have thought that I would feel this comfortable carrying a gun around in public, but now I feel naked without it. Because that perception, their paradigm about firearms it's taken a complete flip. Mm-hmm. And that comes from something in them decided that they were going to be open-minded enough to see a different perception.
Right. Before I got into the gun industry, when I was 17, I had never seen a firearm before in my life. I remember walking into my range host interview, and I looked at Kaylee, who was my boss, interviewing me, and I said, oh my God, it looks like a deathly bowling alley, because I had never seen anything before like that in my life. And that wasn't that long ago, and now my mindset on firearms has changed drastically. Yeah. Crazy.
Well, and that's the thing is,
I never knew anything like I did today.
Working at a machine gun range, mm-hmm. and dealing with thousands and thousands of people over the years of working on the range, how many thousands of people that we've helped put guns in their hands and they've never seen a gun before that. So it's like we're coming from a place of experience of people that have never seen guns before. We've been, I guess you could say, popping thousands and thousands of people's cherries when it comes to first time
100%, yeah,
time shooting guns. And in a lot of those examples is when they come up to the counter. I remember how many times people would come up to the counter and I would set a gun on the counter and people would jump back.
Yeah,
because their perception of it is like this. It's this volatile thing.
You drop it and like it's gonna go bang
like a fucking grenade.
Yeah,
right?
Absolutely.
Or a cig.
Oh my God, you're making a 320 joke.
Send it. So
he's making a 320 joke.
Anyway, so
did you say send it?
Yeah. So, the difference in that person within less than an hour, that the look that they have, what they talk about when they even when you bring up to them, yeah, you remember when you jumped when I brought the gun out there for the first time? They're like, yeah, it's absolutely.
Or even the complete opposite, the 16-year-old that comes up full of ego because of all of his Call of Duty games, and then he gets into the range and shits himself. There's two
especially
different ends of the
range,
spectrum,
especially at
but we are there to help all of those different ideals. Everyone has a different idea of firearms.
Like I said, it's perception.
And that's what we're here for.
Well, and on the same on that note of perception, you have Hollywood, who tells us, guns are either super scary, they're super easy to use. I mean, depending on which movie you're watching,
or they never run out of ammo. Some of those guns have really large extended magazine capacity.
That's been forever.
Yeah. I tell you, I want to know where they get their extendo clips because I want one.
Clips.
Yeah, we'll talk about that later.
I cringed.
Yeah.
So,
side note.
again, with Hollywood, though, we're talking about Hollywood. Like you said, you have a totally different idea about guns or about how easy it is or about, so this comes along with the so talk about perception. People think that a guy with a gun in the room has all the power in the room. You saw in France how a couple guys with AKs had 100 people piling up together to get away from these.
Are you talking about that Charlie Hebdo thing? The cartoon illustration thing where they
concert with a concert. It was like two guys with AKs that went into that heavy metal concert.
Oh, okay, yeah, because there was another incident.
No, you're talking about they were walking up and down the street. Or they went into the.
They went into the
No, I'm talking about that concert that they walked into.
Gotcha.
The thing is we've seen it here. We've seen it here with classrooms.
Yeah.
College, little kids. Somebody with a gun. People have this perception of because somebody has a gun, they're invincible and they have all this power over the whole room. What people can't wrap their head around is the fact that they don't.
Yeah.
It's not easy. They're not just going to accurately hit every single person. Like here's how I see it. And this is another thing. This is open-minded talk, right? Opinion. Back, say the 40s, like World War II era, right? Something like that happening, I guarantee you there would be more people standing up to fight that kid with a gun and throw shit at him and make it harder for that kid to kill people than today where everybody's trying to pile everybody and hide in closets and shit. I think there's a different mentality today and people are scared of the invincibility of because somebody's holding a gun that they're like this invincible thing. I believe, and this is in that open-minded thing because this sets people off in some points, that if more people understood that somebody with a gun walking into a classroom is going to get a hail of chairs and books and everything thrown at them, there's going to be less people getting shot. The most important part of that is if everybody knows that this is what people do now, they're less likely to walk into rooms with guns.
Do you remember when we had shooting clubs in high school?
I didn't have one here, but
do you remember when?
I remember seeing gun racks in the back of kids' cars or trucks.
Absolutely.
At school.
So do I. That was I think once that got stopped, once they said, yeah, you can't have rifle racks in the back of your vehicles anymore, I think that was the point when everyone kind of got desensitized to it or got sensitized to it and started becoming afraid of it all of a sudden. But you're 100% correct, and I agree with you. If everyone had the same mentality as the what do they call it? The golden era, the guys from the 40s that ran through World War II. Right. If everyone had that same mentality, 100%, people would not get away with the shit that they get away with now. Someone walks into a club, a school, a Walmart with a gun.
They don't face any adversity.
It's literally shooting fish in a barrel now.
Especially when it's a gun-free zone. And I'm not going to try to get into that.
Yeah.
But when you know that nobody's allowed to carry a gun in that place, it makes it that much more appealing.
Yep, and you see that. There was that shooting, what was it, Christmas Eve or New Year's Eve a couple of years ago. It was a Christmas party that the guy was at. He was a security guard or something, went into the Christmas party, and it was for it was like a special needs foundation or something. But he had some kind of grievance with his employer, knew it was a gun-free zone, knew nobody was going to stand up to him, and walked in and started shooting. You're a coward.
Absolutely. Well, that's the thing is those people that are doing that, if they knew that there was opposition, if they knew that people were going to be throwing shit at them and putting up a fight, they're not doing it.
Yeah.
They're not the kind of people that do that shit.
Yeah.
Because that's not what they didn't go in there for a fight.
No, absolutely. And you're correct. If people understood that the person with the gun does not have all the power, this is what people need to understand. Just because somebody walks into a room with a gun, they're not John Wick.
Right. That's
you can take them down.
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
There was that military vet that got shot. He survived, but there was that college. In that college, that guy was going room to room and shooting people. And as soon as that guy started fighting him. I think he was trying to hold the door back and took some rounds holding the door back. The thing is if everybody had that mentality, that guy would have never went in there and did that.
That mentality is
If
gone
more
with
people,
the times.
But I
though.
think,
It honestly
look
is.
at, with the things that are going on around today, I think
We might be getting it back,
slowly,
but over the past 10 years,
the pendulum swings. Just over on the soft side, I think it's starting to swing back the other way.
Hopefully.
people aren't trying to be vigilantes as much as they were.
The problem is it's not going to just swing the other way and it's like, oh, look at how people live. It's going to come through.
Yeah.
It's going to come through some hard times.
Yeah. We're at 27.
Yeah. 27 minutes, huh?
Yep.
Yeah, I really hope that it's not too serious because I know that like a lot of our podcasts are going to be pretty freaking funny, man, and doing stuff. But I guess this is our kind of like, this is who we are. This is our breakout. It's going to sound a little bit more serious, but I don't want to come out like we're this serious, uptight podcast.
Yeah, no, I mean, this
Take
is...
a half hour of your time there.
Yeah, no, this is absolutely supposed to be a, an open minds, open opinion kind of thing where hopefully we do get somebody with an opposing view. Hopefully we can get somebody on here that says, you know what, no, I don't agree with you and this is why. Because that's how these conversations should take place. It shouldn't be a shouting match. It shouldn't be like, no, I believe this, or no, you hurt my feelings, so it can't be. No, man.
As soon as you lined up enough and they have nothing else to say, they just start calling you.
No, like if you have an opposing view to something I believe in, something you believe in, I want to hear it. I want to know why.
Okay,
Absolutely.
then I'm going to shoot because if a gentleman or anyone came into a room with an AR, my personal opinion, I would fucking be terrified.
Well, nobody's saying you wouldn't be terrified.
Yeah.
That's absolutely.
I don't know what
100%.
I would do.
But
I would.
the idea,
I mean, if
the
I
idea of what
knew
we're
that
saying
I
is
was
not
going to be killed, maybe I would fight. But I would definitely be hiding under tables, and I would definitely be cowering. I don't know if I would run up to that person.
I think we would do the same thing.
Well,
Like,
I
here's
don't
the
know
thing
if I
is-
could
if we're
throw
unarmed,
a chair
if
at
I'm
somebody
unarmed-
that I knew had an AR. If I know what an AR-15 round could do, a 223,
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't throw a fucking chair at the aggressor.
But you also know somebody doing that probably doesn't have the same amount of training as you do. So it's probably, even if they do, listen, somebody's throwing a chair at you, it's not boop, they're dead. When you're having things flying at you, you look how long it takes. It takes the time to line up, take an accurate shot. That's not what they're going to be doing if the chair's coming at them. Now, if you're the only one that throws a chair, yeah, now you're.
That's what I'm thinking.
What we're
I'm
saying
thinking
is, what
in
I'm
the
talking about is the whole room starts throwing everything they got at that guy at the door. The whole room, he's faced with it, with a room full of people throwing all kinds of shit at him. He's going to be sending rounds wherever he can, but he's not going to be going in there and accurately just massacring as many people as he possibly can.
But I think I do understand too what you're saying in the beginning. If someone walks in with a rifle and just
because I
starts
know what a
shooting
gun
people,
can do.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
But you also know, that's what I'm saying, is what people don't realize is the accuracy isn't just point and shoot. It's not just point and shoot. It's not, it takes, you have to be accurate. You have to, if you're, especially without the training, you have to take accurate shots.
I think it also, though, I mean, not to
Or
get
people
too.
throwing shit at you.
I also have to be able to accurately throw a chair at this gentleman.
Not as accurately as they're shooting at you.
You know, how
If
do I
chairs
know
are
with
coming
all
anywhere
of the
near you,
anxiety?
you're not shooting accurately when chairs are coming anywhere near you.
But without getting too
I
technical into it too, you also have to figure how large is this room? Are we talking point of aim, point of impact? Are we talking,
who am I partnered with? Is
and
my
there's that too.
biggest
Like,
senior.
If
I'm
range,
with a bunch of strangers, done. If I'm with you guys, we could figure something the fuck out.
yeah, I think it's obviously all situational, but hypothetically, let's say someone walked into the range, right? You guys know what our front area is set up like. If someone came in and the first thing they did was, started shooting up in the air, yeah, I may duck, get behind the counter at first. I mean, it's natural instinct. It's fight
But
over
you're
flight.
along with people that know that this is potentially a threat.
Yeah.
And they know if he ducks down and that's his point of focus, you're with people that are like-minded with you. It all depends on the scenario.
So you're saying
if
that
I
the
was
range
in
is different
the
than a
range,
classroom.
yeah, because there's plenty of times
I
where
guess,
we'd
yeah.
see a sketchy person come in on our security cameras, and we'd be like,
And
"Hey,
everybody's
everybody,
eyes on
watch
them.
this. You stand over here and watch this. Don't look conspicuous." And you all fucking talk to each other, whether it's radios or one person talking to another. You all have eyes on this person, and you know what's about to go down if it even does. However, if I'm in a college course and I didn't hear the ruckus, or if I'm the first room that this gentleman, or I'm saying gentleman because that's what majority of the
It's
news
typically what it
reports.
is, yeah.
Right.
Don't worry
If
about that
this
shit.
crazy person decides to hit my room first, and I'm with a lot of unknowing people, you're at a DMV. Who the fuck do I don't know what these people are trained with at the DMV. I don't know if they know what's going on around them in the first place, let alone watching my six, watching that guy's actions, and feeling this guy's vibes. You don't know.
That's exactly
It all depends on where you are and
this
who
is
you're
exactly
with.
the point that I'm trying to make.
It's not
Because
just a definite answer to that question, you know?
Listen, this is the point that I'm trying to make. You know that there are, I guess, what you feel like you can expect from the people around you. You expect the people around you would do what we know to be done in classrooms today and in these situations today. Everybody runs to the corner and piles into a corner or tries to duck under or tries to hide. What I'm saying is, if it became more common for everybody in the room to put up a fight, is what I'm saying. This is what I'm saying. I'm not saying individually a couple of people would make that much of a difference. It's true that a couple of people would make the difference, but for you to be one of those couple of people, sure, that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, I believe that more people in the past would have, and maybe I'm wrong, but where I feel like even if I'm wrong about people in the 40s reacting differently, maybe I am. I still believe that if a room full of people stood up and put up a fight, not only would you save lives, you would prevent it from happening if that became a common thing.
A well-armed society is a polite society.
Absolutely.
And that comes along with what I was, kind of what we're talking about with any kind of physical training.
Right.
I believe, this is another opinion of mine, I believe that the more people you have in a community that are physically trained in anything, whether it's sharp edge, knives, jiu-jitsu, whatever, I don't, even if it's rock climbing, people that have some type of discipline that they focus on with physical training, there's something healthier mentally with that. There's something that's a benefit to the community.
They aren't just sheep.
Well, there's something to it. I guess
Yep.
I just don't have it pinpointed, but I feel like a community, the more people you have like that in a community, the safer that community is.
Yeah. No, absolutely. I believe it as well.
And a mentality of fighting back. So even at University of Phoenix, there's a video we have on the main home page.
Mm-hmm.
When you sign in, there's a video, and it's not too bad. It's actually talks about if something like that were to happen, there's stages that you go through, right? It's run, hide, and fight. So first you run from it, and if you can, you hide from it. But if it comes down to it, you put up a fucking fight.
Yeah.
And I don't disagree with that.
No, not at all.
I'm not saying that if there's a guy in the next room over, you run over there and try to fight that fucker. I'm not saying that.
But if you're presented with it to
I'm saying
you,
run.
fight.
I don't disagree with that. Try to make an escape.
Mm-hmm.
If you can't escape, maybe try to find a place to hide in. But when the fucking shit's hitting the fan, man, you better start throwing it.
Yeah. And here's the other thing too, and I think this might be something that the college was talking to in that video, is it's okay if you're scared. It's okay to run. No one is going to look at you and say, "Oh, well, you should have fought back.
Right.
You could have saved." No. It is human nature to, you are concerned, unless you had kids there, unless you had somebody there that you were emotionally tied to.
Naturally, your brain goes into fending for yourself
9 times out of 10, you're going to run, you're going to hide.
to protect you.
Now, don't get me wrong, there are exceptional people out there there are people who will put themselves in danger to
Right.
protect other people.
And God bless those people, man.
And those are going to be the ones that run directly to the fight. They're going to skip that hide step.
Absolutely.
They're going to run directly
They'll
towards the
come
fight.
from the neighboring room and help.
Yes.
You know?
But 9 out of 10 people are not those people.
Yeah.
They are the
think it's
people who
more
are
than that.
concerned.
Yeah.
It might, yeah.
Whatever.
But those people are going to be the ones who need that hide step or need that run step.
And that's
And
fine.
that's-
But
that's
the
fine.
point I'm getting to is when you're backed into a corner, when there's
Yeah.
over 100 of you piled into there's nowhere else to go. There's
Yeah.
100 of you and 2 guys with
Yeah,
AKs.
it's literally going to be you or the guy with the gun.
It's
You
100
you
of
need to make that choice.
or 2 guys with guns. Like the idea that these guys are invincible is why they were so successful with that. I think in Florida, that guy, and I hate talking about sensitive subjects if people are sensitive on it, but at the same time, this is the open mind things that I want to keep here. There was 100 guys and one guy with an AR and a ton of ammo went into a club in Florida and just was annihilating people, just through and through and through. That's one guy, and I get it at first run, and I don't disagree with that. But when there's 100 of you piled into against, there's nowhere to go. Your back's against the wall, and there's one guy.
Yeah.
In retrospect, a lot of it has to do with the immediate exposure that these fucking terrible people get after the fact.
Oh, yeah.
That's what
That's
they
a whole-
want.
Yeah, they're
they want
idolized.
to be heard
Yeah.
about
We can do
that.
a whole other podcast.
Yeah, that's
a
on that
whole-
subject
yeah.
alone,
Yeah.
Absolutely agreed.
Yeah.
I can spend a half
They
an hour
just
talking
get
about that.
idolized by all the other people with the same mindsets, and they think, well, if I'm not happy with my life, I might as well go out with fame.
Yep.
Might as well go out with
And that's
people
what they-
knowing who I am, and that's why they
because you
fucking
know
do
the
it.
name of the killer, not the victim.
Exactly.
Yep.
And that when I was younger, I remember.
I mean, that's
That
why they
being a-
stopped announcing killers like that did male shit, right? What was that we just
Like
watched?
serial killers and shit.
Right.
So they don't glorify serial killers anymore. But they stopped when we were younger. I remember they stopped giving the names of like school shooters and stuff like that.
I think that's amazing.
They did that for a while. What happened? What I believed happened is now you have the social media and the bloggers and everything, and now the media, they're not willing to give up that story because somebody's going to get it. There's going to be a blogger that posts a video that they were there.
Oh, yeah.
And
There's
the media's
so many
not going to miss out
different
on that.
ventures
now.
where-
The media was behind it because it worked. It was working, but now with how open media is,
Yeah.
you're
Everyone's
gonna
an
have
independent
enough reporters
journalist
that are
now.
like, well, there's going to be somebody reporting on it. It might as well be me.
Yeah.
And so you have things like, October 1st. And like I said, we can go far into this because
the media.
there's some things
Definitely.
that I got to say about that with local and whoever, the way that people react to it years later has a lot to do with it too, man.
Yep.
They're going to be remembered for years
But
on
that's what
end.
I'm-
Why not?
But we can talk about that another
Yep.
time.
No, we'll leave that for another time. We'll actually go ahead and wrap it up here. So everyone, thank you for joining in. We will be back next week with another one. And till then, be safe and always remember, run your drills, not your mouth.
Oh, yeah.